Today, we're diving into one of the most intense, most demanding ways to play old-school RuneScape. This is a path of pure, unadulterated combat, a journey defined by some extreme restrictions, and it's a challenge that's come to be known as the 87 lifestyle.
And that brings up a really fair question, right? In this massive, sprawling world that is filled to the brim with skills to master, everything from fishing and woodcutting to crafting and construction, why on earth would a player choose to deliberately lock themselves out of almost all of it? Well, that is the radical choice right at the heart of the combat-only pure.
For these players, the answer is simple: focus. It's about stripping away every single distraction to hone one thing, and one thing only, to absolute perfection: the art of the fight. So this isn't just a character build, it's a whole philosophy that completely changes how you experience the entire game world.
So what does it actually mean to walk this path? Well, it's way more than just having high combat stats. It's a mindset that's built on just incredible discipline and strategy.
Okay, so here's the core rule, the one big commandment. A combat-only pure, which some people call a reverse skiller, only levels up their combat skills. Every single other skill, the ones that let you gather resources or make potions or even build a house, has to stay at level 1, forever.
And that right there brings us to the magic number 807. So why that specific number? Where does that come from? Well, it's the absolute maximum total level you can possibly get under these rules. It comes from hitting level 99 in all 7 combat skills, plus getting a level 99 in Slayer. So that's 8 skills all maxed out, which gives you a grand total level of 807. That's the peak, the summit of this playstyle.
The motivation, well, it really varies. For some people, it's all about mastering combat without any distractions. For others, it's a way to just completely skip what they see as tedious skilling grinds. A lot of people are drawn to the really unique strategic puzzle that it presents. It's like a chess match against the game's own rules. And for all of them, it's about joining this small, super dedicated community that truly gets what a massive achievement it is.
But look, this build is truly defined by its incredibly strict rules. They dictate every single move you make, and that creates this high-stakes experience that's really unlike anything else. Let's break them down. These restrictions are just brutal. First, you have the total skill and lockdown we talked about. Then you face huge quest limitations. A single point of unwanted XP from a reward makes a quest totally forbidden. This in turn locks you out of game-changing prayers like hiding. Finally, because of all this, huge areas of the game world are basically erased from your map forever.
And the pressure? Oh man, the pressure is just immense. There are no do-overs. If you accidentally chop a tree or mine a rock or complete the wrong quest dialogue, poof, the account's purity is broken. We're talking about thousands of hours of work that can be completely ruined in a single careless misclick.
Let's dig into those regional blocks for a second. Because you can't complete certain quests, huge parts of the map are literally unreachable. The entire Elven Kingdom of Tir Nalwen, for example, is locked behind quests that require you to do some skilling. So it's like you're playing a version of the game with entire continents just permanently blocked out.
So with all of these crazy limitations, how do you even get started? Well, the early game for a pure is just a masterclass in strategy. It forces players to exploit every tiny advantage and loophole the game offers.
Pretty much every pure has a playbook, and it starts with the Waterfall quest. It's famous because it instantly rockets your attack and strength all the way to level 30, letting you skip that miserable early grind. From there, you strategically target only the quests that give pure combat rewards. You have to master safe spots to take down powerful monsters way above your level without getting hit. And, crucially, every single drop of bonus XP you find gets funneled directly into your prayer skill.
But what about money, right? You can't make things to sell. Well, the critical first step is a dungeon called the Stronghold of Security. It doesn't require any skills to get into, and just by answering some simple security questions, you get a reward of 10,000 gold coins. That's just enough to buy your first decent weapon, something like a rune scimitar, and actually get the journey started. All right, so once that foundation is set, the real journey begins. The long, super focused grind to get to level 99 in all your combat skills. This is where the real dedication kicks in.
So the entire endgame pretty much revolves around combat. Slayer becomes your main activity, sending you all over the world to hunt specific monsters for money and for training. And that then opens the door to high-level bossing. And what's surprising is that most of the major bosses and even the game's toughest raids are completely accessible to you, offering the ultimate PVM or player versus monster challenge.
And you can literally see this progression reflected in the gear. You start out with basic scimitars, but as your bank account grows from all those monster drops, you start to graduate to these iconic weapons. First comes the Dragon Scimitar, then the legendary Abyssal Whip, until finally you can afford the endgame gear that represents the absolute peak of combat power.
And this is the goal. This is what it's all about. Wielding something incredible like the Voidwaker or Scythe of Vitor. These weapons are the reward for thousands and thousands of hours of focused dedication. They're a statement that you have truly mastered the combat-only lifestyle.
So, as we start to wrap this up, let's circle back to that core philosophy. Because this is so much more than just a set of stats on a screen. It's really a code, a way of playing that finds meaning in limitation.
There's this quote from a community guide that just sums it up perfectly. It says, "The lifestyle represents dedication, strategy, and combat excellence. The limitations aren't a bug, they're the feature. They are precisely what make the achievement so meaningful."
And that really leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? In a world of just infinite options, there is something absolutely fascinating about choosing a path of deliberate restriction. It kind of makes you wonder, what is it about imposing our own limits, whether it's in games or in life, that makes the journey and the final victory so much more rewarding?